I came home from my morning walk to find something that stopped me cold. A heavy-duty padlock hung from my refrigerator handle, the metal gleaming under the kitchen lights like some kind of twisted joke. My son Tyler stood there, arms crossed, that familiar smirk spreading across his 28-year-old face. "Diet plan, Dad," he announced, tapping the lock with his knuckles. "Doctor says you need to lose 20 pounds, remember? This is me helping." The way he said helping made my blood pressure spike. I stood there in my tracksuit, still catching my breath from my walk, staring at this grown man who thought he could control what I ate in my own house. The house I'd paid off 15 years ago. The kitchen where his mother used to make him sandwiches for school. Just before you continue to watch, Joe would like you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. It would encourage him to keep his streak of thrilling revenge stories for you to watch. All right, back to the story. "Tyler," I said slowly, "take that lock off." He shook his head, still grinning. "Nope, it's for your own good. You'll thank me later." The refrigerator hummed behind the lock. My leftover pot roast from last night trapped inside, my morning yogurt, my insulin, everything. And the way he grinned told me he thought he had already won. The lock itself wasn't what hurt. It was the message behind it, clear as daylight, streaming through my kitchen window. "You're weak, old man. You can't control yourself. You need me to manage your life." That's what his smirk really said. I'd built a construction business from nothing, raised 2 boys after their mother passed, survived a heart attack at 55. Now my youngest son was treating me like a child who couldn't be trusted with his own food. "This is ridiculous," I told him, keeping my voice level. "I'm 63 years old. I don't need you monitoring my diet." Tyler pulled out a key on a lanyard, dangling it like a prize. "Dad, you've been sneaking midnight snacks. Your blood sugar's all over the place. Someone has to be the adult here." The adult. Him, the same kid who hadn't paid his own phone bill in 3 years. The irony burned in my throat like acid reflux. I watched him pocket that key, whistling as he grabbed his coffee, my coffee, from the cabinet. He'd moved back in 6 months ago after another failed startup. Temporary, he had said. Because Tyler had forgotten just how much of his life rested on my shoulders. Tyler lived like a king in my house. His bedroom, my former office, was packed with expensive electronics, all purchased with investments from guess who? The BMW in the driveway. I co-signed that loan when his credit tanked. His gym membership, his meal delivery service, his Netflix, Spotify, HBO, every subscription ran through my credit cards. He called it easier for everyone, but we both knew the truth. Without me, he couldn't afford a stick of gum. Yet here he was, strutting around my kitchen like he owned the place, making decisions about what I could and couldn't eat. The real kicker was his monthly consulting fee I paid him for helping with my business books. $5,000 for maybe 10 hours of work my accountant usually had to redo anyway. But I'd kept paying it because I wanted to help him get on his feet. Some feet, some help. He lived rent-free, ate my food when he wasn't locking it away, and treated my generosity like his birthright. The boy who couldn't manage his own finances wanted to manage my refrigerator. He had locked the refrigerator, but I held the keys to his entire life. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling fan's lazy rotation. 3 in the morning, and I couldn't shake the image of that padlock. It wasn't hunger keeping me awake. I'd ordered pizza out of spite. It was the principle, the disrespect. For months now, Tyler had been testing boundaries. Little comments about my age, jokes about my old man routine, taking my car without asking because you weren't using it anyway. Each small transgression had seemed harmless enough to let slide. But this lock changed everything. This was him saying I couldn't be trusted with basic decisions. I thought about Tyler at 8 years old, begging me to check his closet for monsters. "Daddy, just look one more time, please." How many nights had I assured him he was safe? How many soccer games, school plays, birthday parties? I'd been there for everything. Now he'd become the monster, not hiding in the closet, but standing in my kitchen, holding my food hostage. The ceiling fan clicked with each rotation, counting the seconds until dawn. And I was done playing the forgiving father. Morning came with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. I made instant coffee, the good stuff was locked in the fridge with the cream, and sat at my kitchen table with a yellow legal pad. Tyler was still asleep upstairs, probably wouldn't surface until noon. I started writing. Bank accounts, credit cards, automatic payments, every financial thread connecting Tyler to my wallet. The list grew longer than I'd expected. Phone plan, $127 monthly. Car insurance, $285. Credit card he used for emergencies, averaging $3,000 monthly. Health insurance, $450. The consulting fee, $5,000. Nearly $9,000 a month, not counting food, utilities, and the roof over his head. I did quick math, over $100,000 a year. And what did I get in return? A padlock on my refrigerator and lectures about being an adult. I looked at that shiny lock catching the morning sun. If Tyler wanted to play games about control, I'd show him what real control looked like. Not with shouting or threats, with something much more effective. It would involve money, every dollar he depended on. I drove to First National Bank at exactly 9 when they opened. Martha, who had been handling my accounts for 15 years, greeted me with her usual smile. "Frank, haven't seen you in person for months. Everything okay?" I laid out my list. I need to make some changes. For the next hour, we systematically dismantled Tyler's financial lifeline, canceled the credit card linked to my account, removed him as an authorized user on everything, stopped the automatic transfer for his consulting fee, changed my online banking passwords. Martha raised an eyebrow only once when I asked to freeze the emergency fund account Tyler had access to. "Family troubles?" she asked gently. "Teaching moment," I replied. She nodded and processed everything without another question. By 10:30, it was done. Every financial cord cut clean. Tyler would wake up to a new reality, though he wouldn't know it yet. The credit cards in his wallet were now useless plastic. The comfortable cushion he'd taken for granted had vanished. I sat in my truck afterward, feeling lighter than I had in months. With a few signatures, I had locked his world tighter than any fridge. Friday was payday in Tyler's mind. Every week, $5,000 appeared like magic in his account. He usually slept until noon, checked his banking app, then went shopping. This Friday, he stormed downstairs at 12:47, phone in hand, face red. "Dad, what the hell? My transfer didn't go through." I was reading the newspaper at the kitchen table, my reading glasses perched on my nose. I said, not looking up. "The payment, the consulting fee, it's not there." He showed me his phone screen. Account balance, $14.76. "Must be a banking error," I said, turning the page. "Call them and check." "I did. They said you canceled it." His voice cracked like a teenager's. I finally looked up, meeting his eyes over my glasses. "Oh, that. Yes, I'm implementing a new payment structure. Think of it as a fasting plan. Financial fasting. Very trendy these days." His mouth opened and closed like a fish. "You can't just..." "Can't I?" I folded the newspaper carefully. "Seems like we're both making unilateral decisions about each other's consumption now." His face turned red. He knew this wasn't a glitch. That Saturday, while Tyler frantically made phone calls to credit card companies, I packed a suitcase. The Bahamas had been calling my name for years. Crystal clear water, warm sand, no padlocks. I booked a flight for that evening, 1 month stay at a resort I'd always deemed too expensive. Not anymore. Tyler found me zipping up my bag. "Where are you going?"
Vacation, I said simply. When will you be back? When I feel like it. His eyes widened. You can't just leave. What about the house? What about... I'm 28 years old, I interrupted. You're the adult, remember? I rolled my suitcase past him to the front door, where I'd left an envelope on the hall table. There's a note for you. Explains everything. He grabbed it, tearing it open. Inside, in my careful handwriting, Tyler, the fridge is all yours now. So is everything else. Handle it. You're strong enough to manage without me, right? Mum. His face went pale. Dad, wait! But I was already loading my suitcase into the Uber. He thought I'd cave, but I was already in the air by the time he realized I meant it. My phone started buzzing before the plane reached cruising altitude. 17 missed calls by the time I landed in Nassau. Over the next week, that number hit 30, then 50. The voicemails evolved like a symphony of desperation. Day 1, Dad, this isn't funny. Call me back. Day 2, I need gas money. The card's not working. Day 3, Dad, please, the car payment is due. Day 4, this is insane. You can't just abandon me. Day 5, I'm sorry about the lock, okay? I'll take it off. Day 6, silence, then breathing, then please. By day 7, his messages had degraded to pure panic. They're going to repo the car. The gym canceled my membership. The phone company says I'm cut off tomorrow. Dad, I need help. I listened to each one while sitting on my resort balcony, watching the sunset paint the ocean gold. Each message confirmed what I'd suspected. Tyler had no backup plan, no savings, no ability to handle the real world. The man who'd locked my fridge couldn't even keep gas in his tank without me. The calls only made me sunbathe harder. Before leaving, I'd made one crucial call to Nathan, my older son. He lived 3 states away with his family, completely independent since 22. Nathan, I need a favor, I said. Don't give Tyler any money, not a penny. I explained everything, the lock, the disrespect, the lesson that needed learning. Nathan sighed. Dad, he's going to call me. I know. He's going to beg. I know. This is going to be ugly. It needs to be. Nathan was quiet for a moment. All right, but if he ends up actually homeless, he won't. He's resourceful when he has to be. He just hasn't had to be. So when Tyler called his brother crying about emergency loans, Nathan stuck to the script. Sorry, bro, can't help you. Maybe get a job. Tyler's response, according to Nathan's later text, was a string of profanity, followed by, "You don't understand." But Nathan did understand. He'd worked construction through college, paid his own way, never asked for handouts. For the first time in his life, Tyler's safety net was gone. Tyler's personal credit card had a $2,000 limit. Without my backing, that was his entire world. According to the trail of declined transactions I could see on the account alerts, I hadn't removed myself from those, he burned through it in 4 days. Gas, $50. Groceries, $200. Restaurant dinner, $80. Bar tab, $120. Then bigger desperation purchases. Cash advance, $500. Another cash advance, $500. By day 5, the card maxed out. The declined transaction alerts came fast after that. Declined, $8.50 at McDonald's. Declined, $20 at the gas station. Declined, $45 at the grocery store. He tried selling things next. His gaming console went first. I knew because the Wi-Fi showed it disconnected. Then his watch, the expensive one I'd bought him for graduation. His golf clubs, the designer clothes, but pawn shops pay pennies on the dollar. A $500 watch might get you $50. A $2,000 gaming setup might bring $200. He was bleeding out financially, and every Band-Aid he applied just delayed the inevitable. I saw it all from my beach chair, phone in hand, watching the alerts roll in. And then came the eviction notice.
The apartment wasn't technically mine, but I'd been paying Tyler's rent for 2 years. Just until the business takes off, he'd promised. The business never took off, but I kept paying. $2,200 a month for his professional space downtown. When the property management company didn't receive payment, they moved fast. 5-day notice to pay or quit. Tyler sent me photos of the notice taped to his door. "This is illegal," he texted. "They can't do this." "They can," I texted back, my first response in 8 days. "You're doing this," he replied. "No," I wrote. "I'm just not preventing it anymore." He called 20 times in the next hour. I let them all go to voicemail while I ordered another pina colada. The bartender, Jose, had gotten to know my story over the week. "Your son again?" he asked, seeing my phone light up. "Learning experience," I said. Jose nodded wisely. "My father did something similar. I hated him for a year. Then I thanked him for the rest of his life." And he still hadn't reached rock bottom. Tyler had always been particular about work. "I'm not doing minimum wage. I'm not doing manual labor. I'm not working weekends. I need something that fits my skill set." His skill set, as far as I could tell, was spending money and critiquing others. But hunger and homelessness have a way of adjusting priorities. According to Nathan, who was monitoring the situation from afar, Tyler applied everywhere: Target, Walmart, every restaurant in town, the mall, grocery stores. But his resume was a disaster. 5 failed startups, no actual job experience, a college degree in entrepreneurship that meant nothing to hiring managers. The only callback came from unexpected quarters, the city sanitation department. They needed bodies for the morning shift, starting immediately, $15 an hour. Tyler called Nathan sobbing, "Garbage man, they want me to be a garbage man." Nathan's response was perfect. "It's honest work." Tyler hung up on him. But 3 days later, with his apartment lock changed and his car repossessed, he took the job. The boy who once mocked me for being old and slow now had to ride on a trash truck at 5 a.m. News travels fast in a small city. My buddy Carl worked in public works and couldn't resist sending me a photo. There was Tyler in a reflective vest hanging off the back of a garbage truck, face hidden under a city-issued cap. But I could see his posture, shoulders slumped, head down, defeated. "Kid's actually showing up," Carl texted. "Puked the first day from the smell. Crew calls him Trust Fund because he showed up in designer sneakers." The sneakers were ruined by day 2, apparently. Tyler had to buy steel-toed boots from Walmart with his last $20. The morning shift meant waking at 4 a.m. The route covered restaurants first, the worst assignment because of the rotting food. Then residential, running behind the truck, hauling bins, getting sprayed with garbage juice when bags broke. 8 hours of humiliation, 5 days a week. The kid who locked my refrigerator because I was out of control was now wearing other people's trash like cologne. He stopped calling after week 2. No more voicemails, no more texts. And I hadn't even come home yet. The silence from Tyler meant something was shifting. Nathan confirmed it with careful updates. He's still working, showed up every day this week. He's sleeping at the homeless shelter, but he's saving money. He asked me for budgeting advice. That last one surprised me. Tyler asking for advice instead of money represented a fundamental change. His text messages to me became sparse but different. "Dad, I'm trying. Dad, it's rough out here. Dad, I understand now." No begging, no manipulation, just simple statements of fact. He was finally experiencing what most people call real life. No safety net, no backup plan, just the grinding reality of earning your keep. The trust fund baby was becoming a working man, one garbage bag at a time. I extended my stay another week, not out of cruelty, but because the lesson wasn't complete. Tyler needed to marinate in this reality a little longer. He needed to sit with the weight of what he'd taken for granted. And for the first time, I sensed he was actually listening. Meanwhile, I was living my best life. Morning swims in crystal clear water, fresh grouper for lunch, sunset walks on the beach, reading books I'd bought years ago but never opened. For the first time since retirement, I felt truly free. No one demanding money, no one treating me like an ATM with dementia. The resort staff started calling me Mr. Frank with genuine warmth. I joined the morning volleyball game with other retirees, made friends with a couple from Vermont who'd sold their business and were traveling the world. Kids? They asked one evening over drinks. 2 sons, I said. One figured life out early, the other's figuring it out now. They laughed knowingly. We cut ours off at 25. Best thing we ever did. She's a doctor now, thanks us every Christmas. The money I saved from not funding Tyler's lifestyle more than covered this trip. I could stay another month if I wanted. But a month seemed right. Long enough for the lesson to stick. Not so long that it became cruel. Tyler's suffering wasn't my entertainment. It was his education. But soon, it would be time to go home. The flight home felt different from the one leaving. No anxiety, no second guessing, just curiosity about what I'd find. Tyler had gone silent the last 5 days. No texts, no calls, nothing. Nathan said he was still working, had moved into a tiny shared room, was saving every penny. He asked about you, Nathan told me, what you were thinking, if you were ever coming back. What'd you tell him? The truth, that you'd come back when you were ready. As the plane descended toward home, I thought about the Tyler I had left versus the one I'd find. The boy with the padlock had been broken down completely. Whatever stood in his place would be his choice, bitter and resentful or humbled and rebuilt. The pilot announced our descent. Below, the city sprawled in the afternoon sun. Somewhere down there, my son was either loading garbage trucks or finishing his shift. Either way, he was working. Either way, he was learning. The plane touched down smoothly. Time to see what a month of reality had built. And I was about to see the results face to face. I took a taxi home from the airport, not ready to deal with retrieving my car from long-term parking. The house looked the same from outside, but something felt different. The garbage cans were at the curb. Tyler never remembered garbage day before. The lawn was cut. The mail wasn't overflowing from the box. I unlocked the front door to find Tyler sitting on the couch. Not lounging, not sprawled, but sitting, waiting. He looked different. Thinner, definitely, but that wasn't it. His eyes had changed. The cockiness was gone, replaced by something I hadn't seen since he was a kid. Humility. "Dad," he said, standing up slowly. No demands, no anger, no sarcasm. Just that one word, delivered with weight I'd never heard from him before. He was wearing work clothes, actual work clothes, not designer jeans. Steel-toed boots sat by the door, still dirty from the morning shift. We stood there for a moment, father and son, separated by a month and a lifetime of lessons. It was respect, not mockery. We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where this all started. The padlock was gone from the fridge, I noticed. Tyler's hands were different, calloused now, with dirt under the nails that wouldn't come clean. Working hands. "I was wrong," he started, voice steady but quiet. "About everything. About you being weak, about me knowing better, about deserving what you gave me." He looked at his hands. "I thought old meant useless, thought kindness meant weakness. I was an arrogant little—" He stopped, searching for words that wouldn't come. "You were never weak, Dad. You were patient. There's a difference." I let him talk, not interrupting, not helping him find words.
This was his moment to articulate what he'd learned. That first night in the shelter, this old guy, probably 70, gave me his blanket because I was shivering, didn't ask for anything, just gave it to me. Reminded me of you. His voice cracked. Except, you gave me everything, and I locked your fridge. And that was the moment I knew I'd won. Tyler's boots told the whole story. Steel-toed, scarred, stained with things I didn't want to identify. They sat by my door like evidence in a trial, proof of his transformation. Still got the sanitation job? I asked. Yeah, actually got promoted to driver training, 20 an hour now. He said it with pride, real pride, not the fake confidence he used to wear. Saved $800 so far. Got my own place. It's tiny, but it's mine. He pulled out his phone, showing me photos of a studio apartment. Sparse, clean, nothing fancy. A mattress on the floor, a small table, a hot plate. But his. I cook now, he added sheepishly. Rice and beans mostly. Turns out food costs money when someone else isn't buying it. We both looked at the refrigerator, that monument to our conflict. I'm sorry about the lock, he said. It wasn't about your diet. It was about control, about making myself feel bigger by making you feel smaller. And he had finally earned my attention. I reached into my jacket and pulled out the padlock. I'd had Tyler's landlord mail it to me in the Bahamas. Now I set it on the table between us, its weight making a solid thunk. Tyler stared at it like it might bite him. I was an idiot, he said simply. An arrogant, ungrateful idiot. Yes, I agreed. You were. We sat with that truth for a moment. Then I picked up the lock, turning it over in my hands. You locked the fridge because you thought I was weak, out of control, needed managing. Tyler nodded, ashamed. But here's what you didn't understand. Every dollar you spent, every bill I paid, every safety net you took for granted, that was my choice, my control. You thought you were the one with power because you held this key. I set the lock down, but I held every other key in your life. You locked the fridge, I told him, but I locked your arrogance.
I didn't restore everything immediately. Trust, unlike money, couldn't be transferred with a signature. But I did something specific. From my wallet, I pulled out a blank check. Tyler's eyes widened. This isn't charity, I said firmly. It's a test. Write any amount up to $1,000, but explain what it's for and how you'll pay it back. Tyler stared at the check like it was written in foreign language. The old Tyler would have grabbed it, written the maximum, made up some story. This Tyler pushed it back across the table. I don't need it, he said. I get paid Friday. I'm okay. I raised an eyebrow. You sure? Yeah, actually. He pulled out his own checkbook, something he'd never owned before. I owe you rent for those 6 months I lived here. I can't pay it all, but here's a start. He wrote a check for $200. His entire savings minus emergency money. I looked at the check, then tore it up. Keep it. Consider us even. And he didn't flinch. Tyler kept the sanitation job. Every morning at 4 a.m., he got up without complaint. He'd text me sometimes. Loading restaurant row smells like death. Lady gave us cookies today. Got a raise, $22 now. He was building something real, work ethic, savings, self-respect. Weekends, he'd come for dinner, not expecting free food, but bringing groceries to cook together. He taught me his rice and beans recipe, laughing about how he'd survived on it for weeks. The secret is the hot sauce, he said, covers the sadness. But there was no sadness in his voice anymore. One evening, he mentioned his coworkers. Good guys, they don't know about before, about you paying for everything. I'm just Tyler to them, the guy who works hard and doesn't complain. That was worth more than any consulting fee I'd ever paid him. He'd found his identity beyond my shadow, beyond my wallet. He'd found himself in the dawn light, hanging off a garbage truck, doing honest work. And for the first time, I felt proud again. 3 months after my return, Tyler invited me to his apartment for dinner. The studio was small but organized. He'd built shelves from scrap wood, gotten furniture from yard sales. Pride lived in every corner. "I cook now," he said, preparing an actual meal. Chicken, vegetables, rice that wasn't drowning in sadness. We ate at his tiny table, two men who'd found their way back to each other through conflict. "I've been thinking about Mom," he said suddenly. "How she would have hated what I became. The entitlement, the disrespect." We rarely talked about her.
She would have been disappointed, I agreed. But she also believed in redemption. Tyler nodded. "I got my redemption from a garbage truck at 5 a.m. We laughed, real laughter, not the sharp edges we used to throw at each other. After dinner, he handed me something wrapped in newspaper. Inside was a simple keychain, nothing fancy. "Thanks for letting me fall, Dad." And I realized the real plan had worked. The padlock sits on my desk now, a paperweight, holding down bills I pay without resentment. Tyler never asked for money again. He got promoted to route supervisor, makes decent money, lives within his means. He dates a girl who doesn't know he was ever anything but hardworking. Sometimes we laugh about it. The lock, the garbage truck, the Bahamas. "Most expensive lesson I ever learned," he says. "Most expensive lesson I ever taught," I counter, "but worth every penny." Tyler tried to control me with a padlock, thinking age made me weak. Instead, he learned that strength isn't about control. It's about knowing when to let someone fall and when to catch them. He locked my refrigerator, but I locked something more important. I locked away the entitled boy who thought the world owed him everything. When I finally unlocked that cage, a man walked out, my son, the one who earned his life instead of expecting it. Now, when Tyler visits, he brings groceries. We cook together, two men who learned respect the hard way. And that padlock, it reminds us both that sometimes the best gift a father can give is consequences. And now, every time I see that old padlock on my desk, I smile, because it reminds me of the day my son finally learned respect. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like this video, comment, and smash the subscribe button. Also, check out other videos on the channel. Joe's got more interesting stories for you.